welcome to this practice of yoga. I'm so glad that you have again taken the time to roll out your mat and get connected to your body and your breath. So to begin, you can find a comfortable seat. You might like to place one hand on the lower belly, one hand on the chest. Drop the eyes down or close them completely and start to feel that breath moving all the way from that soft belly, extending up into the chest. And from the chest all the way back down into that soft belly as the breath moves in and out through the nose. Following these next 3 breaths, you might like to count the exhalations as they leave the body. And notice how the inhalations arrive naturally, effortlessly. And then as you bring the hands to touch at the center of the chest, lengthen the spine, inhaling, taking the arms up, perhaps looking up. As you exhale, roll the shoulders back and down as you find a little bend through the elbows there. Inhale, imagine the spine lifting up out of the hips and widening across the chest as you exhale. Feel those 2 qualities of the breath, the inhalation, a little more active and expansive. The exhalation, a little more passive. A quality of surrendering. You might feel that in the physical body as you allow those shoulder blades to surrender down the back. And one more time and we'll meet with the hands together in Anjali Mudra at the heart center. And it's here that you can take a moment to set your Sankalpa for this practice. And may the merits of this practice, individually and collectively, benefit the awakening of all beings. You can find your way onto the hands and knees. Spreading the fingers wide, have the knees about hip distance apart as you inhale, imagining that breath again moving from belly to chest as you lift the chest and the sit bones. On the exhale, pressing into the hands and looking to the navel. Inhale to lift and round. And exhale, pressing in and rounding the spine in the opposite direction. After your next exhale, take the sit bones down over the heels. Continue to extend the arms long. So you might have the elbows lifted here so that you can keep reaching into the fingertips. And then as you breathe in, activate through the core a little, come forward onto the hands and knees, but rather than letting the lower back slump down, stay active and long through the spine. As you exhale, pressing back into your extended child's pose. On the inhale, draw forward, press into the fingertips, look forward, just out past the end of your mat, and exhaling all the way back down. Coming forward on the inhale, and you could turn this into a full plank if you wanted to, press back to the heels. On the exhale, child's pose or dog pose, bending the knees generously. Moving between those 2 actions, we have 2 choices now. Again, in full plank, try not to let the lower back slump down, but stay active through the core. Exhaling, bend the knees generously in your dog pose, if that's your option that you're finding. And the next time you are in your full plank or half plank, you can release all the way down to the belly. And go on and find Cobra here. So you might like to take the hands a little wider, squeeze my legs back behind me there, press into the palms, the fingertips, curl up through the back of the neck and expand across the chest. Exhale to release all the way back down. Anchoring through the top of the feet, rise up Cobra once more. exhale to release. This time in your cobra, you might like to come onto the fingertips and maybe even take those hands a little wider again as you drop one shoulder across the middle of your mat at a time. Softening the shoulders, the neck, maybe even the head moves into this wave-like rhythm. Finding your way back to center, and you can bring those hands back under the shoulders. Come up through your hands and knees and find your downward facing dog, where you might like to bring that little bit of movement into the heels, lifting one at a time, or perhaps stillness as you make those small adjustments to find dog pose. Turning the first finger out slightly, rolling the armpits under, feeling that space between the shoulder blades. Feet about hip distance apart, and you might stay with the knees bent so that you can, rather than lengthening the heels down, lengthen the spine up. From your dog pose, glide the right leg up into the space behind you. You're on the ball of the left foot as you inhale, lift the leg a little higher, that right leg a little higher. Exhale, bend the left knee and draw the left heel down. The lower right leg lowers a little too. Inhale to lift. So it's a little pulsing action here in this three-legged dog. And you can start to feel the hips lifting, giving yourself a little more space here, so that now as you step the right foot forward in between the hands, hopefully that's an easier transition. You're here in your low lunge with the knee over the front ankle. Inhale the arms up. And take this backstroke action as you bend the elbows. Inhale, leaning forward, reaching. Exhale, lift up the spine and then create this back bend. It can be really helpful to soften the jaw here as well to encourage the breath to remain soft. And the legs are the base, the strong foundation that you're then allowing the spine to lift and lengthen. The next time those hands come down, you can frame the front foot. Option to pick up the back knee here, just to give that a little rest. Inhale, take the right foot back, lift the front toes. Exhale, lunge forward into this runner's lunge. But try not to collapse this back leg, stay active. Inhale to reach, straightening the front leg. Exhale, lunge. So you could have both hands on the inside of the front foot. You could have a block under each hand or on the inside of that foot, or even big jars or anything else you've got to create a prop there for you. As you come forward into that lunge, bring that left knee down, step the right foot out to the side. So you're coming into gate pose. Left knee lines up with right foot, press down into the right little toe. Again, you could have a block here, ready to place the left hand down onto. Otherwise, breathe in, take that left arm up and over, and then exhale down towards the floor. Inhale, and exhale. So a little bit of core activation here, but not so much that you're compromising the breath. And as you engage into that right little toe, you'll feel those roots sending down into the earth to be supportive and strong. And particularly as we come to hold here, so left hand grounds down under the shoulder, pressing into that right foot. Extend the top arm up. And you've got the option here to lift that bottom knee if you like. And then placing the knee down, the top hand, and finding your way back into downward dog. Again, it may be stillness that you crave here, perhaps a little movement. Of course, child's pose is a great option as well. Take a moment, just these next 3 breaths where you're connecting to your body. Get out of that head space, wherever your mind is wanting to take you right now. Bring it back to the feeling in your body. up through the right heel. Exhale, lower the right heel, bend that right knee generously. The left leg comes down a little. Inhale, pulse the hips up again. Exhale to lower. Inhale, lift. Hips are lifting, all this space. Step the foot forward. Come down to the back knee. Inhale the arms up and circle them back. Inhale, reaching forward, and let that breath go. Breath moves in, breath moves out. Follow the way in which it moves the body, creating space, those two energies. Place the hand down, lift up through the back knee. Left toes lift up, hips lift as you inhale, lean back. Exhale, runner's lunge, but keep pressing the back of the right thigh upward. And moving with the breath, tacking that left hip back slightly. Engaging into that right heel. And you might just keep the gaze out past the long end of your mat, staying interested in your practice rather than falling into autopilot. As you come forward this next time, you can place the right knee down, line it up with the right hand, step the left leg out to the side for gate pose, inhale the right arm up, and exhale. Breathing in, notice how that breath picks up the body. Surrendering as you exhale. There's no hurry, stay for the entire length of the breath. If at any point I feel I'm getting a little tense or holding tension through the facial muscles, I like to just put a smile on my face and it very easily lets everything go. Take that top arm up, press into the left little toe, maybe lift the bottom knee off the ground. And then as you release the knee, release the hand, find your way into downward dog. From down dog, finding half plank or full plank on the inhale, looking forward. Exhale to release. Finding your cobra or sphinx if you prefer. Exhale to release the weight of the spine down. Making your way into downward facing dog. Feeling the weight of the head as you relax the neck. Drawing in a little through the belly button here so the lower back is supported. We're coming to the front of the mat, so start to look forward. Take a few steps or jump if you're feeling warm enough. And as you arrive, lift the chest halfway, look forward. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Bending the knees, feet hip distance apart. Circle the arms up as you breathe in, reverse swan dive. And exhale to come down to center. So as you pause here in Samasthiti, even standing pose, just notice the breath, the weight distributed through the feet. The knees are a little soft. You might have the eyes open and gazing out into a point in front of you that is still. Eye level or slightly higher as we find Vrikshasana, tree pose, sending the weight into the left leg. So again, a micro bend or at least having that knee off lock. It might be heel to ankle. You might take the foot a little higher against that standing leg. But do remember it's important to stay away from the knee as the knee joint likes to move forward and back, not moving or being pressed off to the side. So as you have that standing leg off lock, allow yourself, like Confucius say, a green bean, a young green bean in the wind is stronger than an old oak tree. Allow for that movement in the body. very subtle movement. Your mind stays attentive. And as you place that right foot down, be preparing it through the toes, the ball of the foot, the sole, the heel, the whole foot. Finding tree pose, Vrikshasana on the other side. Just opening that hip ever so slightly. Not enough that the hips are moving out of that focal point or parallel to the end of your mat. More that they're facing evenly to the front space. But as you start to just engage that knee away a little, you'll feel the glutes switch on as well to support this action of hip opening. And then placing that foot down, feeling yourself connected on both feet. You can have the hands down alongside you, turn the palms away. And as you breathe in, reach those arms all the way up. As you exhale, bend the knees and imagine the fingers skimming across the earth. Inhale to lift, you might look up. Exhale. The inhale is this opening breath. The exhale, a closing down and turning in. So see if you can find that depth through the bend, the seat. We're going to add a little here, so you are welcome to take this next step. The arms lift up, and then you can take the right knee up as well. As you exhale, take that right leg back behind you. Inhale back to the center, both feet down, exhale. Inhale, arms lift, left leg lifts. Exhale, leg back. Inhale, back up, knee, arms, both feet down, exhale. And finding the flow that allows your breath to guide the movements. And if you stumble a little, it's really no problem. It's most likely not the worst thing that can happen in the world today. Simply pick yourself back up, smile that you're even here. Connected, conscious, awake. We're adding a little here. Next time the leg comes up, it doesn't matter which one. Take it back, step it back, high lunge. Take the arms out to the side like wings. Inhale, straighten both legs. Exhale, lunging. You might let that bottom knee just hover above the ground. Inhale to lift. Exhale. Guided by the breath, the pace of your breath. There's no need to make it any faster. As you come all the way back up, send those arms alongside the body, lift the back leg. Take that leg in towards the chest, arms lift as you inhale, both feet on the ground, exhale. And we'll stay centered here, inhale, both feet grounded, exhale. Just a couple more like this before we move to the second side. Second leg lifts as the arms lift, send the leg back. Plant the foot down, high lunge, feet about hip distance apart. Inhale, arms lift, hips lift, exhale. Just know you're doing a fantastic job of staying with your practice. Send the arms back, lift the back leg. Draw the knee into the chest as the arms lift. Foot down as you exhale, sit into your seat. Twice more. As you bring the hands overhead, join the palms and exhale slowly down through center. We're going to revisit tree pose. Right leg lifts, Finding your variation where your foot needs to be. Arm variation, hands together, hands to hips or extended. I'm just going to stay with this a little longer. Let this be the practice. And noticing how your energies perhaps picked up there a little. That activation in not only the body but the mind. And how right now you are in full control of bringing everything back to the calm within. Simply by focusing on the breath, moving into the body and out of the body. And it's very easily possible for you to place the foot down with the opposite leg. Stay there in that calm space between thoughts, distractions. Notice your external drishti, your external focal point. Notice your internal focal point, the breath. It might be quietly saying to yourself, in, out. It might be counting the breath. Or it may be as simple as just witnessing the body breathing. Returning that foot down to the earth, letting the hands rest alongside the body. Feeling a softness through the knees, the elbows. You might drop the gaze or close the eyes. And remember that a practice such as this, in which you remember that you are in full control of your mental state, is one that you can very easily take with you off your yoga mat, particularly through the more energetic, more yang, more busy times of the year, of life, knowing that in any moment you can choose where you will focus your attention and return to that calm that is ever present within you. Palms turned out as you breathe in, let them float all the way up and overhead. Exhale them down through center. As you breathe in, a heart-opening breath, expanding the chest, the knees are bent. And exhaling them back to center. So feel that length of spine, lifting up out of the hips, lifting through the heart space. And exhaling to soften back in. Inhale and exhaling. Take those arms all the way up, perhaps look up, maybe a baby back bend. Diving forward as you lead with the heart and fold. Place the hands down and find your way back into plank or half plank. Press back through the heels like you're pressing into a wall. Inhaling to lengthen the spine. Exhale to release. You might find it beneficial to bring the knees down first. Finding locust pose as you take the arms back alongside you. Breathing in, rise up, bend through the elbows and knees. Exhale, release. Inhale to lift. Exhale. Inhale. And releasing all the way down. Let the hands come under the shoulders, curl the toes under, come up through hands and knees, and then widen the knees out to the edges of your mat to find child's pose. Not as active as the first child's pose, you might make a pillow under the forehead. You may simply bend the elbows to release the shoulders. Let the belly be soft, the rib cage heavy. Tune into the soft sound of your breath. Focusing a little more on the exhales now. Using your next inhale to slowly lift up and take your time, bring the legs out in front. Sit forward to the front of the sit bones. And then crossing the right leg over the left. But you can take this twist, Matsyenasana, with the right foot inside that extended leg if you prefer. Otherwise, the foot comes over. You're anchoring down through the left heel and the right foot. We're going to be twisting to the right, but before you do that, because we want the twist to be more through the thoracic spine rather than the lower back, the sacrum, it's a good idea just to shimmy that right hip back a little. Just a smidgen, just so you're not pulling through that SI joint. Wrapping the left arm around the knee and hug everything in. Heel, foot engaged, arm engaged through the knee, and then allow the spine to lift up, drawing the lower ribs around the middle of the chest. You might have the hand as close to the seat as possible, allowing the spine to stay upright, or you could have something under the hand to bridge the gap between your hand and the earth. Just let the chin soften into the collarbone. And the tummy, the breath even can feel quite compressed here. So use your imagination to expand that breath from the belly, the ribs outward, taking the last part of that inhale into the upper back. That space between the shoulder blades, feel an aliveness here. As you soften the head and shoulders, you can keep that right leg crossed and take it over the bottom leg if you're able to. Otherwise, just inside, that leg is fine too. Here you are in more of a yin asana, half shoelace. So this time you can soften the feet. And just notice what's happening for you here. Perhaps you can already experience a gentle stretch through the hamstring. You could drop the head if you wanted to and deepen into that back line of the body, or even folding forward with a prop, a cushion, a bolster underneath the chest. Of course, being mindful that you're experiencing this stretch to the belly of the hamstring, the middle of the back of the thigh. If it's at the back of the knee or even in the sit bone, it's really important to bend that extended leg so that we're directing that stretch safely. Notice as you bend the elbows, you can release those shoulders a little more. Feel that space between the back teeth. As you lift up slowly extending the right leg and anchoring down to the right heel. Left foot grounds down, inside or outside. Press into those feet. Grow tall as you wrap the right arm around you. And you may not arrive at the end version of your pose straight away. So I like to think of the torso as a lump of clay that you can very slowly mold around, breath by breath. Every exhalation, just gently pivoting the rib cage around the middle of the chest. There's no need to pull the neck around. The thoracic spine really loves to get a juicy twist here, so be patient and feel into that space that's available there. Using the exhales just to soften any unnecessary hardness, any unnecessary restrictions that might have been built up in your mind. back to the front of your mat, that left leg can just settle there. You can always place something under the knee as well. If sitting upright is enough for you, then just pause in a soft stillness. If you're finding a little more depth, you might like to bring yourself forward. Slowly release, take your time, place the feet out in front about hip distance apart, finding your reverse table as you inhale, lifting up the hips, just looking forward or directly up. Exhale to lower, to hover above the mat. Press into the tips of the toes, the tips of the fingers, lifting up, just pulsing back down, twice more. Just feeling again those energies between the breaths, and particularly throughout this practice, a little more energetic, of course, as we practice our asanas and starting to find more passive space. As you climb all the way down, have the hands underneath the buttocks, and you're going to use the hands to support the hips, bend the knees, and extend the legs up towards your ceiling or your sky, the view overhead. Letting the backs of the hands take the weight of the hips so you can feel a little more ease as we move into a more passive stretch. Inverting the body, letting the blood move down into the internal organs and brain. A great way to balance the yang energies. You can lower those feet down. Remove the hands from underneath. Take the right leg up and then cross it over the left knee. We're going to lift or slide those hips to the right generously. Take the arms wide and then bring those knees over to the left side of your mat. And if you are feeling any pulling, any strain, any discomfort through the lower back, just try and bring those hips more to the right first, or even place a support under the knees. Try and bring both shoulder blades down to the earth. You might like to look in the opposite direction. If it's more of an ITP stretch you're after, you could extend that top leg and hold on to the foot. It'll feel like that place that Adidas stripes on the outer seam of your right leg. As you bring everything back to center, just softening, being safe with your body as you transition into the middle of your mat. And as we come onto the second side, the left leg lifts and crosses over the right, bringing those hips over to the left. So again, we're not twisting through the sacrum, but more the mid and upper spine. And if you don't arrive where you need to be immediately, then just make those little adjustments so that you can find an expansive and a softening breath. It's taking that top leg long. You could reach it, maybe hold on to the big toe with the right hand. Returning back to the middle of your mat. You could hug the knees in here for a moment, bringing the hands over the knees so the fingers point down towards the feet. And then And take big circles, so drawing those knees out towards the armpits. And then away from the body, the arms extend. So as you inhale, opening the knees wide. And exhale, bringing them to center. Moving in a more unhurried way, as slow as possible here. Slowing down the breath. Slowing down the nervous system. Slowing down the mind, so that you can gift yourself just a little more time as we're preparing the body for stillness and receive the benefits of just being. So as those legs come together, you might like to place a support under the knees, or you may be ready just to extend them long and take them out to the edges of your mat as you turn your feet out. Let the arms rest alongside the body with the palms up. Feel the center of the back of your head. The shoulder blades settling down as you release any tension through the upper back. The arms heavy and relaxed. You notice the touch of air on the open palms and fingertips. The pelvic area is very heavy, and it reminds you to release any holding through the buttocks, thighs, down through the lower legs, and feeling the temperature of the air all around the toes and feet. And letting go of the effort, the weight of the body. Imagining you're resting in soft, warm sand. And you imagine that all of the external layers, all the external lines of your physical body begin to dissolve from your awareness. So no longer seeing the external view of legs and arms, but feeling into that energetic space. Feel into the energy where the feet are. Notice the energy through the legs. And as you relax the pelvic floor, perhaps feel a warmth here. The soft abdomen, spacious, welcoming. The rib cage, the center of the chest, the heart open, all hard edges erased. Noticing the breath touching just beneath the collarbones, prana. Where the arms rested, pulsation. Where the head rests heavily, vastness. just as if the sun has gone behind the clouds, or the clouds have covered the blue sky. You know they still remain and they're temporarily covered. When a thought moves through your awareness, it's temporary. Simply a cloud blocking your view of the vastness within your mind. Awaken to that feeling of spaciousness deep within, all throughout, all around. To continue resting here in Shavasana. Depending on the time of day in which you're practicing, it might be nice to stay here a little longer. If you'd like to find your seat, then just slowly make your way to a comfortable seat on the floor, on a bolster, or even on a chair. As you find this seat, you might like to place one hand again on the lower belly, one hand on the chest. And feel into that bottom hand as it moves very gently with this easy breath. And imagine this breath begins to move down through the body, down through the base of the spine, down through the legs, this long breath, reaching down to penetrate the surface of the earth. And as this breath reaches down through the earth, it finds its way to the very core of the earth. You can imagine that the body is sending out roots, golden roots, down through the earth to wrap around the core, the very center of the earth. Your breath connects with the energy of the center of the earth. Your body connects with the entire vibration of the earth. Feel yourself here in this moment, present, grounded. And this golden light, this prana that moves through the body begins to rise up through the earth, through the spine, to the center of your chest, expanding out from the heart all the way up to the crown of the head and beyond. And as you exhale from above the crown of the head down into the heart, this pathway of light and energy, inhaling from the heart up into the space all around you, and something greater than yourself, a connection that unites you with all beings. All beings. May this practice that we've shared today, individually and collectively, benefit all beings, so that all beings may be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, so that all beings may have happiness and the causes of happiness. May that all beings be safe. May all beings have peace. And may all beings know love. May you be free from suffering. May you have happiness. May you be safe. May you have peace. And may you know love.